So we just made a video taking a look at what potential competition Canoo might have when it comes to their van, aka lifestyle vehicle. We did leave something out though, something big, something so big that I think it deserves a more in-depth look and a video of its own. Well, it's that or... Alright, okay, so it's possible that I just completely forgot that the Tesla Robovan was even a thing, or more accurately, might be a thing. What's up, Motorheads, and welcome back to Gearbox Pizza. Today, we're going to take a look at the upcoming Tesla Robovan and how it might stack up to the Canoo lifestyle vehicle. Even more so than the Volkswagen ID Buzz, this thing easily has the potential to be the biggest competition for Canoo in the fully electric van space. So starting off with Canoo's lifestyle vehicle. Well, the fact that you're here and watching this, you most likely are pretty familiar with this guy. Look, we're big fans here at Gearbox Pizza, obviously, and in case this is your first time seeing this fella in action, boy do we have a lot of Canoo stuff for you to check out. And so when you're done here, why don't you fix yourself a plate of those bagels with the pizza stuff on top and cue yourself up the Canoo playlist. Oh, watch out though, because let those things cool down a bit. That is, if you enjoy having the roof of your mouth intact. Anyway, so about Canoo. They're the fellas behind this pretty dope van, this super dope pickup truck, and they're also making these larger and more commercial purpose delivery vans. Everything is all electric, obviously, and depending on what you're interested in and what spec you're looking at, you could be tapping into like 600 horsepower, but keep in mind that we're still in pre-production here, and it looks like we're potentially getting close to the lifestyle vehicle, aka the van, but the pickup, that's not gonna happen until later. So that brings us to Elon, Tesla, and this tweet. Yep. Maybe Tesla should make a highly configurable Robovan for people and cargo. Man, remember when Elon was just this run-of-the-mill futurist Tony Stark style billionaire who was inadvertently shifting markets and panicking money managers while just having a dusting of fun on Twitter? Yeah, me too. I want the old Elon back because, well, this Elon, yeah, I guess aside from just being a whole lot less fun, well, this Elon sort of seems to have lost his mind a little bit, right? I don't know. Look, I don't think I'm exactly going out on a limb here, but man, that whole Twitter purchase thing sure looks like just a colossal mistake. I mean, isn't the world just way better off if our dude went back to shifting the entire future of the automotive landscape and sending nerds to Mars? Yeah. Anyway, so sorry for that rant. Well, I mean, not really all that sorry, but anyhow, back to the Robovan. So a few things to touch on here, and let's start with Elon's long-term vision for Tesla. On several occasions, he's talked about having a fleet of fully autonomous vehicles that would more or less act as, well, the next generation of Uber. And he's also discussed the idea of being able to turn your personal Tesla into like a part-time taxi thing, like you drive or it drives you to work, drops you off, and then goes about its day driving other people around until it's time for you to go home from work. A quick thing here though. People are pigs. I mean, they just are. I don't know. Humanity as a whole is pretty amazing, but never underestimate our ability to just not care when it comes to other people's property, especially if unsupervised. I mean, just imagine for a second what the inside of your brand new shiny Tesla might look like after a day of driving dudes around. I mean, can't imagine how gross that might be. So there's issues here, and plenty of them if you really stop it to think about it, and that's where the Robovan, aka the Robotaxi, comes in. I mean, the end game for Tesla will be much more about providing mobility solutions than it's going to be about selling cars. In fact, there's been plenty of arguments made that car or vehicle ownership in the future, well, it's going to be much less common than it is today. Mostly reserved for specific needs. I mean, think like big trucks for construction and farming, etc., or for enthusiasts. And look, the fact that you're watching this video most likely puts you in the enthusiast bucket because, yeah, I'm with you. I can't see myself not owning a car or two, or a dozen if I somehow fall into some serious cheddar somewhere down the line. The younger generation is already driving less and less, with people already relying much more on ride sharing and public transportation, which will likely see more investment and improvement in the future. And keep in mind though, with all that, we're looking at least 10 years down the road. Full self-driving has proven to be a much more difficult nut to crack than anticipated, and I know Elon's got a history of being eagerly optimistic, and look, I don't really blame him. I mean, for people like that, you just sort of want them to be optimistic anyway, right? So yeah, full self-driving is still a ways away it seems, although it's getting better and better for sure. But then there's the whole social and psychological hurdle, which I'm guessing may be a real issue here when it comes to a fully autonomous transportation solution. It's just gonna take a while for people to build a level of trust while stepping into a driverless van without like any sort of steering wheel and feeling totally comfortable. Like, all right, you and me, well, we might be able to get over it pretty quickly, but think about your mom or your aunt and consider the deafening level of paranoia and conspiracy theories that's plaguing us recently also. All it's gonna take is one crash, one casualty, and you might just lose the trust of a big slice of people. And even if the numbers prove otherwise, in fact, autonomous cars are already generally safer than human drivers, and soon they're gonna be 10 times safer, and then even 100 times safer. But even at 100 times safer, some accidents are still gonna happen, and I'm curious just how that's gonna play out socially. All right, so back to the Robovan. So for Tesla to have a fleet of robotaxis, well, they have to start with actually building out a van first, as that's the first logical step here. And as you can imagine, there's not exactly a flood of reputable information out there about their van aspirations, but there is some. Firstly, it looks as if the Robovan would be built on the Cybertruck platform, as it's not only a more modern platform than what the Model S and X are built on, it should be able to accommodate a generally larger vehicle. So what does this mean and how does this affect Canoo? Well, the Robovan will likely be larger than the Canoo, which is, look, it's good news to some people and bad news to others. Personally, the size of the Canoo is one of the big strong points. You've heard it before, but the footprint is roughly the size of a Prius. They make the absolute most of it with tons of interior volume for its size. And some people will just need something larger though, but for most, I think the Canoo is going to be plenty big. And then there's the production timeline, or potential production timeline rather. So the Cybertruck was announced towards the end of 2019, and initially they were, well, crazy ambitious about how quickly they could get into production. And fast forward to today, early 2023, and we're still not exactly close to production. The latest estimates say that production will start sometime in the middle of 2023, but again, I really wouldn't be surprised if that gets pushed back, maybe towards the end of the year. And keep in mind, starting production and being at full production capacity are two very, very different things. The numbers, well, they're going to be low at first and will slowly increase as they iron out the bugs and bring other factories online around the world. And I could see this easily taking a year to get up to full production, and it could actually take longer. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, as personally, I'm sort of a big fan of the Cybertruck, and it'll likely be my favorite Tesla, so the sooner the better if you ask me. And then there's the fact that there's hundreds of thousands of pre-orders already. Now, keep in mind that a pre-order doesn't necessarily mean a sale. I mean, I believe all I had to do to get a pre-order was put down a $100 refundable deposit, so it's pretty easy to back out if you've either changed your mind or got tired of waiting and got something else. Oh, and then there's the price. When announced, Elon said the starting price for the Cybertruck would be about 40 grand, with a top-of-the-line 500-mile range triple motor beast coming in at about 70 grand. Okay, so let's be clear here. There is a 0% chance that those prices will be accurate. Yep, zero. I wish I was wrong here, but I'm just not, and I'd bet my next paycheck on this. You see, the world, well, I guess you could say it's changed a little bit since they announced this thing, and that might be a huge understatement. Now, if I had to guess, I'd peg the Cybertruck as starting at about 60 grand. And to be honest, even at that price, it's still probably a bargain when you compare it to the other big boy fully electric trucks on the market or coming to market. So this will likely cause plenty of people to abandon their pre-order, but still, there's going to be a huge demand, and it's just simply going to take them years to catch up with it. Alright, so what does this mean for the Robovan? Well, I can't imagine they'll be putting too many resources on it when all their production ability is going to be focused on the Cybertruck, so let's try to back into a possible date here. Let's say they're finally on schedule and production starts later this year, so end of 2023. And then let's say there's a year to ramp up production and then another year or two to begin to satisfy demand. Well, we're looking at about 2026 now. And this, in my opinion, would be the absolute earliest that production of the Robovan could begin. And that's most likely pretty ambitious though. Let's push that back a year just to be safe, and now we're looking at 2027 or so, which is good news for Canoo. And if you watched my earlier video on Canoo's other potential competition, well, the rough takeaway is that Canoo is more or less ahead of the competition, except for Volkswagen and their ID Buzz, which is sort of a whole different story. So if Canoo can in fact start real production sometime this year, even if it's at a relatively low volume, well, that's great news, and it'll, well, solidify their early arrival to the party. There is a catch though. Canoo has already banged out contracts with several companies like Walmart, for example, to build and deliver many thousands of last mile type delivery vans. So the question here is clearly, when will consumers actually be able to start taking delivery of non-commercial versions of the lifestyle vehicle? Well, it might be a little while. Look, in a perfect world, production ramp up will go relatively smoothly. Like, I know, when does that happen? But if possible, it would be amazing if they could simultaneously build commercial and regular consumer versions, as they share the same platform and majority of the same parts. Beyond just staying alive and being financially somewhat healthy, I do believe there's massive work to be done from a PR perspective with Canoo. The good news here is that their product is great, it's very cool and designed to inundate your Instagram feed, but we need these out there in the real world. We need consumers and enthusiasts taking theirs to car shows and popping up at Cars and Coffee. We need an aftermarket marketplace, and we need to see these things on TV and in parking lots. I really believe that the public is going to take to this, and later on the pickup truck for sure. But the reality is simple here. In the grand scope of things, nobody really even knows about Canoo. That needs to change. As long as Canoo can keep their prices in a good spot and appeal to younger people, they've got a real good shot here. Alright, so bottom line time. Yeah, the Robovan will be big time competition for Canoo for sure. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. But Tesla has beyond a full plate just getting their Cybertruck going amongst other projects. So time is on Canoo's side, and I'm sure they're well aware of it.